What's the most unexpected thing a child has ever said at the worst possible moment? My niece hadn't spoken a single word in 14 months. Not one. After her parents died in a car accident, Emily, just 5 years old, went completely silent. No crying, no tantrums, just silence. Like someone had flipped a switch and shut her voice off permanently. Therapists said it was trauma-induced mutism, that she needed time, that we shouldn't push, so we didn't. My sister, her mom, was my best friend. Losing her shattered me, but seeing her daughter drift into that emotionless void, that was its own kind of heartbreak. We moved Emily into my house. I gave her the biggest bedroom, decorated it with unicorns and glow-in-the-dark stars. She'd smile sometimes, nod when asked things, but not a single word. I tried everything: puppet shows, bedtime stories, sign language. She'd watch, but never speak. And then came the funeral. It wasn't for her parents this time. It was for my grandmother Emily's great-grandmother, who'd been the last connection to her old life. Emily adored her, used to call her Gigi. They'd bake together. Gigi was the only one who could get her to laugh after the accident. At the service, the church was filled with roses, old friends, and quiet sobs. I held Emily's hand as we sat in the front row. She clutched a small drawing she'd made of Gigi's stick figures under a giant yellow sun. I didn't even know she'd made it. Then the pastor asked if anyone wanted to say a few words. Silence. People shifted in their seats. Then Emily let go of my hand. I looked down. She was walking on her own toward the podium. Gasps filled the room. People whispered. I almost stood up to bring her back, but something stopped me. She climbed the 2 steps with her paper shaking in her little hands. And then, into the microphone. Gigi said, "I don't have to be quiet forever." The entire room froze. It was the first time any of us had heard her speak in over a year. I stopped talking because I thought if I didn't speak, I wouldn't lose anyone else. Her voice wobbled, but she kept going. But Gigi said that when we love people, we should tell them, even if it hurts. She unfolded the drawing and held it up. This is Gigi in heaven. She's baking cookies with mommy and daddy. People were openly sobbing now. She told me in my dream that I can talk again, that I have to say the things other people can't. Emily stepped back from the microphone, looked around the church, and said, "I miss her. I miss them. But I think they're watching us." She walked back down the aisle as if she'd done nothing extraordinary, sat in my lap, and whispered, "I want to talk now." It wasn't a miracle. It was something stronger. It was a little girl deciding on her own terms to speak again in the most sacred way possible. After the service, everyone came up just to touch her shoulder. Some knelt beside her and thanked her. A few asked for copies of her drawing. One woman said, "That was the most powerful eulogy I've ever heard." Emily just smiled. From that day forward, the silence was broken. At first, it was just a few words each day, then full sentences, then stories. She told me about the dreams she'd had, that Gigi wore an apron made of stars, and that mommy had angel wings that sparkled in the dark. She said daddy still had bad jokes, even in heaven. Sometimes she'd pause mid-sentence, eyes wide, and say, "They're listening now." I believed her. 6 months later, her school held a Family Heroes Day. Each child had to bring a drawing and talk about someone they looked up to. Emily stood at the front of her class, holding a new picture. It was of a microphone, a church, and a little girl with golden hair. "This is the first time I was brave," she told them. And when her teacher asked what made her decide to speak again, she said, "Because I remembered that love is louder than fear. I still cry when I think about it, not because it's sad, but because a little girl who had every reason to shut the world out chose to step up and speak love into a room full of pain. And that's the loudest thing I've ever heard."